Glen Powell has a new movie this weekend called How to Make a Killing. Now, it's got some of that Glen Powell charm mixed with some crime drama, mixed with some comedy, but is it worth your time? Let's talk about it. So, brief synopsis for this movie. You've got Glen Powell, who's the main character, and he's at the bottom of this family tree to inherit a bunch of money. None of the family members seem to be dying or getting sick or anything. So, what does he do? He decides to start cutting branches off the family tree by killing family members. So, he moves up the family tree to get his inheritance that he was promised to by his mother. And his mother told him to basically do anything he can to get the life he deserves. That's your movie. So, you've got that Glen Powell charm as the main character, and you got some dramatic moments, some thriller-like moments where you're not sure what's going to happen. Is he going to get caught? Things like that. It's a lot of fun. As for the rest of the cast, you got Margaret Qualley, Ed Harris, Topher Grace, and the biggest surprise to me was Zach Woods, who I know from Silicon Valley. He's one of my favorite characters from that show, so it was nice to see him in this. Anyways, the cast is great. I love the story, but let's talk about what worked. So let's move on to the positives. Now, Glen Powell is doing Glen Powell things. He's got that charisma, that witty humor to him that you can't help but love, and he does it so well that most of the movies you see him in, you just can't help but like him, like his character. And I mean, that's great. This movie, he's through the whole thing, so basically you have that charisma and that Glen Powell charm throughout. The story, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I thought it was very interesting and kept me on the edge of my seat, sort of, to where like I was constantly wondering what was the next family member going to be and how was he going to take out the next family member. That kind of edge of your seat, not like thriller edge of your seat, just a lot of interest I had in what was going to happen. This movie has decent pacing as well. I never felt bored during this movie. I never wished for it to be over. I never felt like it's overstayed its welcome. Now, as for what was okay, didn't really hurt the movie for me, but also didn't really stand out to me, also has to do with the side characters. Now, I did enjoy the little bit of time we did get with them, but I wish we had more time with them. Now, I think that would have screwed up the pacing, so I can't really complain too much about it. But there were some of the family members that I would have liked to get to know more before they died or before they were out of the movie. We don't get too much of that. There's a couple of them he spent some time with, but like Topher Grace for one, I think could have used more screen time. But overall, I mean, you don't want to mess with the pacing too much. It's just something that I wish would have happened just because I was a little bit intrigued by where each family member was because each one was so different than the other one. One thing I will complain about is if you've seen the trailer, you've seen most of the funniest moments of the movie. Unfortunately, it is one of those trailers that gives away a lot of the funny moments. So while I did laugh a lot during this movie, or a decent amount during this movie, most of the laughs I had already laughed at when I watched the trailer. Unfortunate that that's how that is. But that seems to be the case with a lot of movies now. So if you can go into it without watching the trailer, that's what I recommend. Also, as for the acting, so like I said, a lot of the side characters you don't get too much time with. Their acting is fine for the time that they have. Margaret Qualley is great. I wish she was in it a little bit more. She is kind of a main character, and I wish she was on screen more. But as for Glen Powell, so Glen Powell, I love Glen Powell. He has this charm to him that you can't help but like his character that he plays. And this seems to be the same for every Glen Powell movie that I've watched or show. Now, What bugs me about that is he seems to be playing the same character in almost everything now. And while that's not necessarily bad, like I've liked a lot of characters that do, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Bruce Willis. A lot of their characters from movie to movie are very similar just because that's their acting style and that's what people want from them. Glen Powell seems to be going down that road. However, we know Glen Powell can act really well because if you've ever watched the show or the movie Hitman that was on Netflix, he plays so many different roles. Like he plays one role, but he plays different roles in the movie as that person. And you see how good he can be acting wise. So I wish we saw more of that from Glen Powell and not just the same old from Glen Powell. But then again, he's successful as the same old, and he's charismatic. You can't help but like him. And he makes enjoyable movies. So, not really much of a complaint, just I wish we saw more from it. Now, is this movie worth your time and money? I say if you're a big fan of crime thrillers with some comedy mixed in, you'll probably enjoy this. If you're a big fan of Glen Powell and you've liked almost everything he's done, this is one of his better movies in my opinion, so you'll probably enjoy it as well. If none of those sound like you, then probably not. Probably wait for streaming. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, as for my rating, now for the story, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I do think this is a good concept. I think they execute it decently. It's fun, it's entertaining, it doesn't bore you. So, 8 out of 10 there. Performances. Like I said, I wish there was more of the side characters. You have some of the best actors as the side characters, and they don't get nearly enough screen time. And then Glen Powell is just Glen Powell. He's giving the performance he's always been giving. I wish we got more Hitman Glen Powell, but it's still decent. Rewatchability, I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. I can definitely see myself rewatching this a couple times. Actually, I'm going to go rewatch it on Saturday because my wife wants to see it. And I watched it without her the first time just because it was the screen unseen. So I will be seeing it again. And so I'll know for sure if I'm going to watch it again after that. But I'm actually excited to see it again. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 on rewatchability. I definitely recommend it. You'll be entertained. You'll like that Glen Powell charm. He carries the entire movie. Like he's from beginning to end, basically. So if you like Glen Powell, there's plenty of Glen Powell in this. Now, let me know if you're going to be seeing it this weekend or if you already have. Write down in the comments what you thought about it, what you didn't like, what you did like, what worked for you, what didn't work for you. And then please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate all the support and keep watching movies.